President Larry Miller.
Good morning. Welcome to Adler Planetarium in the wonderful city of Chicago. We're thrilled to be here today to unveil the Air Jordan 30. Every year, the Air Jordan is the most important product that we create. And that franchise has actually been the foundation of us building a brand that is really one of the leading brands within the culture of sport. Our goal every year is to create a product that is a leader in innovation, both from a design and a performance perspective, and to really inspire athletes all over the world to be the best that they can possibly be. We're committed to making sure that we bring that product to market when it's ready. And because of that reason, we're launching the Air Jordan 30 in February this year. So we're excited about the product. We know that it's going to be another one in the great long line and heritage of the Air Jordan franchise. And again, I want to welcome you. Thank you for coming, and hope you enjoy everything you hear and see today. Thank you.
The world is divided on the creation of the universe. But what we can all agree on is that in the beginning, there was nothing. The Big Bang Theory tells us that a singular event caused the creation of the universe. A single moment that started our universe and immediately ushered in the Dark Ages. Science tells us that it took 400 years for the first star to appear in our sky. For the next 13 billion years, the universe has been expanding and growing, changing ever so slightly that most of us don't even notice. Our sky is now filled with unique planets and stars that do their part in the survival of the galaxy. Fortunately for us, the creation of a basketball universe didn't take nearly as long. But similar to the Big Bang Theory, the globalization of basketball started with a singular moment. Back in 1891, Dr. James Naismith created the game of basketball, and for decades it was played on the asphalt courts of New York and the cornfields of Indiana. Basketball was firmly planted on one continent. It would take nearly a century for the first global star to emerge. A skinny kid from North Carolina would awaken the United States to his existence with a game-winning shot to clinch the 1982 NCAA championship. Unbeknown to all of us, his draft selection to Chicago and sneaker choice would lay the foundation for basketball's expanding galaxy. The singular moment for basketball would take place in Barcelona, Spain. Michael Jordan stepped onto the court and led the phenomenon that came to be known as the Dream Team to gold. The global basketball universe began. The highlight reel performances, flight after flight, the gold medal, the championships, and the shoes would all become stars that populate this galaxy and inspire others around the world. At one point in time, every little boy and girl has looked into the sky and dreamt of reaching for the stars. Few of us ever get to realize this dream. Many of us stay here on Earth and admire the galaxy. But those who have reached the stars, who have illuminated the wonders of the universe for us, they are revered. Michael Jordan took our game global. He won a gold medal in spectacular fashion and showed the world that they could play this game. His achievements continue to inspire kids from China to Brazil to Croatia to follow their dreams and shoot for the stars. He is and continues to be the North Star for the game of basketball around the world. He created the global basketball universe. He filled it with memories and accomplishments for decades. This universe continues to expand, and we are all allowed to add to it, some in major ways, and some ever so slightly. It is now the next generation's challenge to create moments that will live in the galaxy forever. It is now their opportunity to discover the next frontier of flight.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Welcome to the stage, our host for today, Ben Lyons.
How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining us here at the Adler Planetarium. My name is Ben Lyons from the Players Tribune, and a lot of people know that I'm from New York City, a diehard Knicks fan, so I've had my heart broken more than once by Michael Jordan, obviously, growing up. And, you know, I always wanted to fly like Mike. I feel like we all did, and I never really achieved that. But anytime I was lucky enough to get my hands on a pair of Air Jordans, I had that feeling, and that's something we're going to talk about today, is that feeling that the shoes gave you as a kid or as an adult, and wanting to achieve and wanting to aspire to greatness. And a large reason why is because of the work of the two men we're going to have a conversation with here today. Their designs really not only just transformed the world of sport, but the world of fashion as well, and performance, and what they've been able to do with just making a basketball shoe something that really inspires so many young people around the world is nothing short of remarkable. So we're going to go down memory lane a little bit and get to know these guys a little better and find out the inspirations behind their latest creation, the Air Jordan 30. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage Tinker Hatfield and Mark Smith. Looking sharp as always.
Good to see you,
guys. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, but I want to kick things off with this image right here above us. What is this?
Well, that's a question that we've come prepared to answer just for you, Ben. It's interesting for us to try and one-up ourselves every year and do it with Michael. And oftentimes, we are inspired by Michael and then other, maybe something else in the world. This time we're like, it's 30. Let's just look at Michael's career. Let's look at the fact that I've known him for all these years, and I still am not certain he's of this earth. He's like maybe from some other place. And I think that's where how this drawing kind of started.
And Mark, there are a lot of intricate designs at play when you look a little closer at the image. So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for you and what you see when you look up at Mr. Cosmos.
Sure, Mr. Cosmos was actually a sketch that Tinker put together, and it was great direction on Michael coming out of the cosmos to unite the world of sport through the game of basketball, and it really was indicative of the shoe itself. So you're actually looking at the shoe, and you're seeing the result of storytelling and 30 years of a brand all brought together. And so when you look at the image, it's all there. So there's the shoe. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Hope it fits.
But this shoe came about a little differently than some of the other ones have in the past. Walk me through the process of actually creating the Air Jordan 30 and how it was different this time around.
Yeah, I think oftentimes you need to maybe take that first step in a different direction than normal, sometimes in life. And this design, the shoe design, really started with that sketch. I mean, we both messed around with some shoe sketches, but it really wasn't serious until we actually did this drawing. And there it is. That's the original drawing. That happens to be my drawing, which is why it's so crummy. But
it's great direction. We say great direction.
It's a directional drawing, so it's just very loose. But
plenty to work with.
But I think it actually gave us some strong direction as to how to not just think about how the shoe was going to perform. It has to be such a lightweight, high-performance shoe, but also in many ways, the entire world, the globe, maybe the universe has been affected in a really great way by Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. So started there.
It started there, but then you didn't have as much time, I heard, as you usually do, which you smile and laugh about now, but I would imagine when you're actually creating
I slept on it for a few months. And
yeah.
No.
So how does that change your process, Mark, when time is of the essence?
You know, when Tinker throws a great sketch together that has all the tenets of what needs to be in a great basketball shoe, and he communicates. This is the first sketch I received, and he put in there everything that needed to be done, and he even wrote it to me. He said, so there's no question.
Hey, Smitty.
Hey, Smitty.
Dude, fix this.
Knock yourself out. But what it
cool.
really does is it laid out the foundation for what needed to happen in the shoe and how to bring it to life. So I mean, all the detail stuff really comes from taking it from a sketch and actually starting to make prototypes.
It's got to be fun for you to kind of come up with the foundation, and then obviously you trust Mark enough. You guys have worked together closely enough to be able to say, "Hey, just have some fun with this. Knock yourself out." There's a real trust.
Yeah, I try to do as little work as possible nowadays. So I'm just an idea guy. So.
Good idea, guy. It was a good idea.
Well, the reality is it takes a team to do anything in life, especially something complex. And we have a great team in the Jordan brand that if you look at an idea, they're worthless without an amazing amount of input from other people and a lot of hard work.
Mm-hmm. And in talking about that kind of teamwork and the relationship the two of you have, how does that change when an athlete comes into the mix and has ideas about a product? And how do you guys work together, not just the two of you, but then also collaborating with Michael in this case?
I like to say, it starts with him, right? I mean, you don't really get anywhere without that first conversation.
Yeah, we as Mark mentioned and you alluded to, we didn't have much time to do this shoe, to be honest, and so. I don't think we spent more than a few days sketching and making up a couple of really rough sketches and
prototypes,
some materials and prototypes. And then we were on a plane to Florida. So to basically make sure, I think it's most important to make sure that that the athlete, and in this case it's MJ, is comfortable with the direction, and he loved it.
You've been doing this for a while. Do you still get nervous in that first initial meeting with Michael when you have the kind of rough prototype and the first thing you show him? Are you more excited? Are you a little nervous?
Maybe you could have said that about me 30 years ago, but now I'm like, even if he doesn't like it, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
No, the reality is we know him so well, and he gives us so much time, and is a true part of the collaborative process. There's really, being nervous isn't really part of the mix. It's more like, we're going there to actually resolve things, and we know that he's going to have ideas, and so that's great. We want that. Well,
the result of that initial meeting and your guys' hard work is a big reason why we're here today. So everybody's here to see the shoe, right? We want to see the shoe? Yeah, all right. So let's put up the Air Jordan 30.
You were looking at the shoe.
That was it.
Is it this thing? Is it just like this, the real shoe?
Yeah, that's
okay,
the shoe.
Cool.
It's coming up there too, I think.
So there you go.
And I love that you said before, you said you're looking at the shoe, and it's that image of Mr. Cosmos. So everything that you guys saw earlier in that drawing is now kind of represented here some way, right?
Yeah. Well, this is the shoe that I believe Russell's going to wear in a short period of time in the NBA. This will be the first colorway of this new model, and I'm happy to say that we've met our goals, which is essentially to always make a better shoe than the year before, and which usually means it's one of the best shoes ever for playing basketball. And I'm really excited about how lightweight and how great this fits. And we've combined some new technology, especially in the upper. And I'm going to let Mark talk about it because he and our developer, Adam Walliver,
right there.
fantastic guy.
Couldn't do without him.
Way smarter than us, by the way.
Well, I know, Mark, you're excited about the toe cap. That's
Yeah.
something that
Well,
you're
the toe cap,
yeah,
it comes from the great direction on the sketch, which was...
What did I say? Like, do something cool on
No,
the
I
toe?
said the coolest material ever.
Yeah.
Is that not great direction?
That's great direction. And then he goes off and does his thing. But really, what was great was the opportunity to try some new methods of making here. And what was nice about it gave us the opportunity to actually land a few technical performance aspects in one area, which was great shape. Protection, which was an improvement, from the 29, same lightweight upper, and it's also breathable. And then we were able to brand it with you see it and you don't see it, the Jumpman, and which was a very different way to brand than on the 29. We kind of zigged and zagged it there. It's woven with a with a lighter weight than the 29. Actually, same method, but we got to lighten it up a little bit so that we could actually put in some coating. Again, it's an Argyle print that Tinker had alluded to earlier, which was, again, storytelling. And there's 2s and 3s and 6s in the print itself, the graphic. And then obviously the 30 years of the brand here as the primary iconic visual.
Well, it's cool because you're talking about some new things from the last shoe, from previous shoes, but then you're continuing with the flight speed technology as well. Why was that choice made?
Well, I think we should go back and just talk about when you put out a new shoe and you tell people this is the best new shoe, you have to test it. It has to be designed properly. And I really, quite frankly, we didn't have enough time to be confident in just completely reinventing some new midsole technology. So the speed plate thing was obvious that it's been working great, and we just refined it. And I think that has borne out as a good move in our wear testing. This shoe is wear tested probably the best of any basketball shoe I've ever been around.
Well, the thing I noticed when I was holding it earlier was like the collar in terms of performance. Like, talk to me a little bit about that and how Michael was really involved in that.
Well, that actually,
as well.
the reason, one of the benefits of not going in and re-engineering this plate, it allowed us to really work on the upper a little bit more too and bring a new technology to that. So we, again, back to Tinker and Michael, they really like the idea of incorporating a new fit unit here around the collar and down the tongue, which is the first time you'll see knit for fit, actually with loft. So it's got fit elements, it's breathable, it's light, and it has this incredible feel to it. And Michael's contribution there was also to, he mentioned, reduce the number of lace loops up in here, and let's see if we can bring one of them up around the collar. And there was a lot of work that went into the last lace loop, the 6th lace loop that goes around the collar for that amazing fit around the top of the foot.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you talk about all the kind of performance aspects to a product like this, but then there's obviously the cultural impact that an Air Jordan has. And I've always wanted to know from you guys, when you're designing the latest sneaker, in this case the 30, are you conscious of the fact that you're not only designing for now and athletes playing today, but you're designing the retros of the future? Like, is that something that ever comes across
I think
mind?
that's... Man, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
The Air Jordan shoe is already a lot of pressure. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't need them. Well, the reality is I think we do just focus on the job at hand, which is to improve performance for an athlete, especially at the highest levels. Mm-hmm. And we figure if it works for those kinds of athletes, then of course it'll work for just about anyone else. And so that's really what you focus on. I think we're just trying to make the shoes perform better and actually in some ways protect the athletes so there's less chance of injury. So there's a lot that goes into that. But I think maybe the other side of the coin is that there is a lot of angst around, well, what's it going to look like, and is it going to be cooler than the last one, and how does it compare to other shoes that will be in the marketplace at the same time? And it's a little bit hard to predict because the consumer will tell us. But we feel like if we're doing our job right, it usually will turn out to look beautiful or interesting. So.
You know, it's amazing. People are watching, obviously, live around the world, and we've got journalists here from who flew a long way to be here, obviously, which we appreciate. And this has really become a global event now when a sneaker like this is presented to the marketplace. Where have you been in your travels where you realize just how popular the brand is around the world, and when did you really see kind of the global impact that the Air Jordan shoe has?
I work with Roger Federer, as the tennis star from Switzerland, and I've been working with him for a number of years. And one of the first things I found out about him was that growing up in Switzerland, his idol was Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And he played a little bit of basketball growing up, like a lot of young people would do. And of course, he found his true calling, which was tennis. But he still, to this day, will tell me that Michael Jordan's a big hero. And when you really sort of calculate that, that's pretty amazing. That some kid growing up in the mountains of Switzerland is like a big Michael Jordan fan.
Yeah. And Mark, how about for you and your travels over the years? Where have you been that you've realized, wow, I get to work on something that really impacts people around the world?
Well, we started in Jupiter. We actually flew to Jupiter and landed there. So I get to say we went pretty far.
Florida.
No,
Jupiter. Just Jupiter.
Pretty much anywhere. Really anywhere where you go. A lot of airport life in the travels that we do. And it's really interesting to see, your work kind of just walk past and like, wait a second, when did that happen? And then you see it in everyday life. And I think that's when it becomes permeable to the culture.
Well, we're going to see it on, as you mentioned, Tinker, on Russell Westbrook's feet very soon. He'll probably be one of the first guys, obviously, wearing it in the league. And we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us today. I know you guys are going to be over there talking with all the journalists as well, and everybody will get a chance to hold the shoe and ask you guys some questions and stuff. So very excited for the
one more.
wait a minute.
Little surprise. We want to recognize Adam Welliver, who's actually really...
he actually did all the work.
Come on up. Yeah. Everybody, Adam Welliver.
Turn around and
say hi. Hey. There you go.
He's
World, Adam Welliver.
So...
size 12. Thank you so much.
We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this trends. We'll see how this...
What do you got?
What's in the box? We did. Sometimes we are just super renegades. We don't care if we get fired or anything like that. So
you don't.
You do a little
kids
bit.
in college here.
We took and we did a special edition of this shoe that even the brand Jordan doesn't know about. And
but Michael does.
Michael does. Oh yeah. Well, he's brand Jordan.
He's
pretty much. Okay, so we're covered. Larry, so don't worry. But anyway, we talked a little bit about how that drawing was the inspiration for this shoe. And then the shoe started to look like the drawing. And then as the shoe got more interesting, we actually made the drawing more interesting, which then made the shoe more, and we kept kind of going around in a
cyclical.
circle.
It was a cyclical process.
And so this is just a limited edition. I don't know who's going to ever get this, but we actually had it printed up with the same Cosmos background that you saw on the screen, and you're seeing. Today it's a theme of being in another world and having huge impact all around. And there's now another colorway.
It's full circle now. It has come from the drawing to the video to the space, and now it's this will for sure make. We'll never get invited to do another one of these shoots after this. Guaranteed.
Wow.
Anyway,
are always full
so
of
there you go.
surprises.
So
Honestly, keep us on our toes.
We thought we'd just
have a little fun.
Have a little fun. Just a little fun at Larry Miller's expense, really, because he was. No, sorry, Larry. But hey, Larry, what's your side? We'll get you. We got you covered, man.
Got you covered.
Anyway, we just thought we'd end with that because we can talk a little bit more in other sessions about our process and of course how we think and there'll be other colorways that do come out in the shoe just like any introduction, and so we're excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tinker Hatfield and Mark Smith, everybody, thank you so much for celebrating the release of the Air Jordan 30. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thanks.
All right.